On this lovely morning, we have a 2007 Jeep Grand Cherokee and a 2006 Subaru WRX, and both of them are going to be getting oil changes. Currently, we have Owen up under his Jeep here, using a 13mm to pull the oil drain bolt, which
right here
is located right where he's pointing at, up under there. So,
do you want to just give me the
impact? Owen's choosing the cheater's way out, so we just gave Owen a little helping hand of our nice big impact. Now this bolt we are not going to impact back on. It's pretty much hand tight with a little bit more off a ratchet, but doesn't need much more than that. So when he's loosening this, he wants to make sure that he's got his drain pan lined up.
I gotta go to level 2.
Yeah, you are on reverse, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just making sure. It's a pretty clean Jeep with almost 71,000, but he decided it was about time, so we ran down and got some oil for him, and I picked up a filter for my car, because this car has a new engine in it, freshly rebuilt. So I didn't oil change at, the previous gentleman didn't oil change at 100 miles after the engine. I did one at 500, and now I'm going to do one at 2,500, roughly. So it'll roughly be you have one 100 miles after the build, and then 400 miles after that, then about 2,000 miles after that. And after this point, we should pretty much be back to our regular scheduled 3,000 miles. But just, especially on new builds, you want to do it a little more often, make sure everything breaks in properly, because you'll get a little more metal during break-in.
I made a bit of a mess.
Owen, no. What's new? Owen made a mess, but hey.
That's my specialty.
Yeah, that's very true. We're going to go ahead and drain this down, and as he's draining down there, I'm going to find where his oil fill is up here, which looks to be right there. We're going to crack this open and let it drain a little quicker. Well, I'm just going to crack the filler. There you go.
Alright.
After letting it sit and drip for a couple minutes, Owen's now going to put the drip bolt back in, and then, or the drain bolt for the oil pan, and then he's going to remove the filter and let it drip out of there for a little bit.
I don't want to take it any tighter than that.
I mean, finger tight plus maybe a quarter turn is all you should need.
Yeah, I got like maybe a third of a turn.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah. Let me get that blue towel, wipe that a bit.
Jeep engineers for the win. The filter's like down in there, and it's sitting right above a cross member, it looks like. So
it has a drip pan.
Yeah. Does the drip pan come out though, or is it just going to forever drip?
It has a slot to bring it forward.
Okay, so it looks like we can maybe make it work.
We're gonna have to.
One way or another.
Yep. Though I think next time, too late for now, but I think next time I'll just get the one that has the welded nut on the end and be able to back it with a wrench. Yeah, no, I'm not getting that without a strap.
Let me see.
I mean, I can throw a ratchet strap on it and use that for leverage. You need a strap?
I have to say, Owen's occasionally got some really good thoughts. So what we did was we took this ratchet strap, fit it through itself so it makes like a little loop, and then you run the loop around the oil filter, and make sure you get the like strap side where it connects down on the right side. So when you pull up, it pulls up to the like loosen, pulls it around to the left, and that definitely worked. So I'll give Owen credit for that. That was a really good idea. It was a lot easier than anything I'd have to do. But now we're just going to spin it the rest of the way off, and there's that fancy little drip pan there that actually is working better than I thought it would.
Did I get it where it should be?
Yeah, it's dripping in there.
Alright, cool.
Yep, okay. So there we go. And we'll let that drip for a couple minutes. Okay.
And just so you see, there's the drip pan.
Owen's now down there wiping out the drip tray after we let it drip for what, about 10 minutes or so, just making sure we get everything out of there. And after Owen's drained that or wiped that all out, the next step will be to get the new oil filter and put a little bit of the old oil like around the rubber gasket on it.
I mean, I got spare new.
We can do spare new too. I mean, I just normally use old.
Yeah, I mean, I got the quart and I got the 5 quart.
Okay. So for the next step, Owen's going to take the new oil filter, take a little bit of the new oil. Yep, he took the plastic off if you have it there. and he is going to go ahead and put a little bit of new oil just on this little red gasket here, help it seal a little better.
I'm gonna put a little...
Yep, you can pre-fill the filter also. A lot of people recommend that, but it's a good way to get some oil you can get on your finger.
Yeah.
He's going to go down there, fish it in, and work some magic. All through the help of this nice little cinder block.
Yeah, really.
So Owen got that just hand tight on there, and then I checked, and pretty much if you can get it snug with your hand, give it a little bit of oomph, but don't go putting a bunch of power into it. It's not like it's holding a ton of pressure. Now, Owen said this takes 4.97 quarts of oil for an oil change, so he's going to go ahead and just put a whole 5 quart in there, and he'll be a little over full, but really it's not all that much. Now, if you're not skilled at pouring, sometimes a funnel's good, but in this case, we just like watching Owen struggle.
It's got a little bit of a spout to it. Matt, stop f***ing with it. Now I gotta restart my pour.
Ooh, second chance to see him f*** up. Oh.
Now you got some up.
Cue the Jeopardy theme song. And he is running 5W20 full synthetic motor oil in here. And then he paired that with the STP Extra Large, which is a STP 3600XL, just for low extra capacity. A little bit better filtering I've heard, and I just always like running the XLs if they're an option.
Of course you choose the XL.
I mean, pick XL for one thing, you gotta pick XL for all of them.
Score up the stat, dude.
Yep, okay, so that looks pretty good. So good. Well, at this point I normally give it about a minute or so to settle down in there.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and put this top back on. We still have this cracked back here, so it does have a little bit of a, yeah, dipstick's cracked, so it's got a little bit of an air gap to let everything normalize. And then we'll come back and check the level. So we went ahead and pulled the car down off the jack stands, let it run for about 30 seconds. Owen's going to pull out the dipstick and clean it, since when the engine's running it's going to splash up on there, but he'll clean it, put it down in there, and make sure we're...
I'm going to give it a double wipe just because...
Get all that dust off that he just touched.
Yep, exactly.
But nah, just, yeah, get everything off, make sure you can get a good read on where you're at. Just stick it in there, spin it around, pull it out, stand on your head.
Yep, do it in handstand.
Yep, okay. Can't even tell where it is.
I think it's up to the notch.
I don't think it's that high, is it? Spin it over the other way. So it's considered safe there. Yeah, it looks like it's a little... Okay, so it's a little overfull.
We'll double check it.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
No reason not to be sure, right?
I can just pull it straight out and see. Yeah, it looks like it's at the notch here, which is a little high since technically that's the full. But that's probably the extra quart that we were seeing. Because when we checked how much used we got out, it was 4 quarts and we put 5 in.
Next time I'll bring the fluid evacuator.
Yeah. So I mean, he can pull some back out when he gets home, or it'll just come out and burn up. It's not a big deal. But best guess is maybe the 5 quarts is what it takes, but maybe it only takes 4 for a fluid change. Because sometimes it doesn't get everything out for it. Or it usually doesn't get everything.
Oil lines in the motor and all the ports.
But okay, well. So I think we're good.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, yep. So while we were able to drive Owen's car right up onto these Rhino ramps, we're not able to do that with my car. I actually caught this side of the bumper and yoinked it out. I mean, I clipped it all back in, it's all good, but it just pops the bumper. So we went ahead and got a jack, jacked up the car, and then because of where we had the jack from, we just spin the ramp around and going from the backside. Good, there we go. So now that we're all the way up, Owen will set the car down. Yep. And we still don't have much room under there, but perks. Now, if you have a stock 2006 WRX, you'll probably be able to drive up onto these ramps, but mine are sitting slightly lower on coilovers with race suspension. I know mine sits about 3/4 of an inch to an inch lower, and I believe that's all I would have needed to make it up onto the ramps. But just watch your front bumper when you're doing this so you don't eat it. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and, ooh, it's a little warm. We just drove this into town a little earlier, so we're gonna go ahead and get under it, pop the filter, drain it out, and then do the same steps we did on the other car, but we'll keep you updated as we go. So the bolt down here on the bottom is an 18mm bolt, which sits right, I know there's a lot of oil there, but 18mm bolt right here, take it out. And when I did that, it was extremely hot oil, so I pulled my hand back instead of adjusting the pan how I needed to catch it, and there was like a 2-second stream of just oil everywhere. Yeah. So looking without further incident, we went ahead and got the oil filter popped off. Let it sit for about 10 minutes and we'll go from there. So on this car we are using a 5W30 synthetic blend along with an STP S4615 oil filter. And we're going to do the same thing where we get a finger in the oil and then rub it around. But I'm going to do that off camera since I'm filming and doing this. So, be back with you once we have the filter on and we're filling up the car. First of all, we got to take off the burning hot oil cap. Ah, that thing's hot. And then, I have some leftover here, which is most. So we'll see what we're at. I mean, let's see. First of all, this is right about 4 quarts. So after we pour this out, and we'll take the waste oil and put up in this to see. And if we're over 4 quarts of waste oil, we'll just add back in the difference. Okay. Go ahead and put the cap back on. Ooh, that's a dirty cap. Got a bunch of like crap around the cap. So we'll go ahead and clean it. Looking much better in there now. We got right about a hair under 4 quarts out of it of dirty oil. And I do know that turbo cars tend to burn a little bit of oil, so I'm okay with that. We're going ahead and jacking up each side to pull the stands out, and then we'll let it run for a bit and check the oil again in, I don't know, 30 seconds or a minute after letting it run and reprime everything. You're good to drive. We're going to go ahead and give her a nice start up, and real quick before we do, just to show mileage, on the body we have 180,717 miles. 180,717. But once again, on the engine that was put in, we're at a little under 2,500. We'll just let her idle for a little bit, let everything prime up, and we'll hop back with you when we're, oh, it's beeping because I'm not buckled, but we'll hop back with you when we're checking the oil level.
What was it?
Okay, so we let it run for about 2 minutes or so, and now we're just cleaning off the dipstick.
Your dipstick.
There you go. Gonna shove it down in here, and I think we're gonna come up, yeah, low. I mean, I see it on there, but we're like down here when we should be between. I hate clear oil. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so we are. Way to kind of do it sometimes is, yeah, we're dry there. So we only have it down on the tip. So I'm gonna have to add another quart or so, which is what I was expecting, because being a turbo car, they do burn oil. You usually lose about half a quart or so. So I mean, if I'm a little bit, we'll add a little bit, but I knew that I didn't have a full container, and I don't remember offhand how much this was. I was just putting in most of a container, and then we'll top it off with something I have in the garage. So let me go find out what we have and top it off, and we'll get back to this. So at this point, we went ahead and we added a splash more oil. I cleaned off my dipstick, and now when we check it, if you guys can see, we're sitting right there, just a hair above the fill line. So that's perfectly good for me. And once again, after an oil change, we'll both come back in about 100 miles or so. We'll check, make sure all air levels are still good, because you are going to see slight variance as the engine gets back into its process. But I think that'll do it for this video. Owen looks like he's real happy with life. That's just his resting Owen face.
Exactly.
But thanks for tuning in, and until next time,
We'll see you next time, Diesel Pack.
be safe.